Welcome to the Viral Ideas Podcast. We are the intersection of content marketing and entrepreneurship. Today, we did 5 ideas.
Yeah, and honestly, this is probably our most juiciest episode, packed with ideas like making money by riding a wild boars, how to become a Google keynote speaker, and creating a Chinese donut franchise empire.
The Chinese donut franchise empire one was the one that is most guaranteed to get you rich. I talked about ways that you could work about 15 hours a week to basically pay your rent, make some more money by making popcorn and selling it at farmers markets. And also with more skill, how to make $1 million per month by bringing back Casper the Friendly Ghost.
If your appetite has not been whet already, we should really just get into it.
Let's go.
It's the Viral Ideas Podcast with Dash and Runda.
Okay, idea number 1. You're first in line. What do you have today?
Okay. Have you heard about this feral hogs being an invasive species? Sometimes they're called wild boars or swines, but then it's this interesting article on Wired that they wrote back in 2023 about this giant story about how these feral hogs are an invasive species. They're just destroying crops in flat lands or just destroying the landscapes. I think it was much more of a problem in the Texas area at the time, in certain areas like Austin or Houston. And it actually makes you think, what are the actual solutions that they're addressing with this problem? And as Americans would actually solve any problem, which is use guns. But in this case, it's
That's classic. It's the American way, man.
Yeah. In this case, it would be with helicopter guns, because this is a real business. There aren't really that many businesses really tackling the problem. So I guess the local government, they just decided to pull down the regulation on what you are able to do against these hogs, and then they kind of created this it's called a de-infestation permit. So once you have as a business, you have this permit, you're pretty much able to essentially operate as a business to address the issue of this wild boar infestation. Usually it's by killing. So this business is pretty unique, where they created an experience to literally get people to fly on a helicopter with them, equipped it with machine guns, and also you're able to gun down these feral hogs or wild boars.
Tell me you got a video of this.
I think there might be a lot of videos on this, and I just don't want us to get shadow banned on YouTube. So maybe the viewers themselves can actually just research on their own time. But it's interesting that they're charging between $4,000 to $6,000 per person for this experience. And then I'm thinking, okay, what is the anti-trend of this? Because when you think about going on a helicopter and just gunning these boars down, there must be some animal advocates that are against this. And I can think of a decent bit of demographic in 2025 that actually might want a different solution to this. So then I came across this story. Essentially, the story is this. This South Korean grandpa, I think he was an empty nester, and he didn't really have anyone to see him, like most seniors in that age that just feel pretty lonely in general. But then this wild boar baby that he found on the street needed help. I think he just kind of adopted this wild boar on the street. And then because it's a wild boar, it grew up to 600 pounds. So sometimes he actually gets on the wild boar and ride it around while he's doing his chores and errands. And it's actually interesting because when I saw the imagery of this, I'm just wait, why aren't more people doing that, which is wild boar riding? So you can ride a horse, but why not a boar? So this comes back into this interesting case, which is addressing the problem of wild boars infesting a land, or like if it's not a protected animal, or there's less regulation for an area like Texas, for example, why not just make this into a business of a ranch where instead of a ranch where you ride horses across a landscape, you can create a wild boar riding experience. It's pretty much just like a step-by-step process on creating a ranch, but just this experience, because therapy horse riding experiences exist pretty much everywhere because like they're common cattle. But for a place like Houston, Texas, you just need to piece out the logistics of what's legal and then kind of like propose these into whether if it's like your insurers, or if you're just like more scrappy, you would just like test it out at first in a smaller scale. I think this would work really well to an experienced animal trainer or like a farm or a rancher that maybe they're used to train cattle for all their lives. And maybe if they would like to take on a challenge of figuring out how to domesticate a wild boar to just like train them on giving people rides, then I think like it would be a really interesting experience. That's really just a monopoly of a business to them if you figure out this how to train a wild boar to essentially give people rides.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's really the perfect idea for somebody who is like basically a Joe Exotic type who's just looking to live and breathe wild boars. And yeah, it's definitely something that I think it could really end up being like a really beautiful experience, though, especially when you mentioned the word ranch to me. It kind of just made me start to think about like these haciendas in Mexico. I mean, come on, like for example, look at these places that they've got. Mexico tourism market is absolutely booming right now, as you know, there's actually quite a few people who are looking to, you know, not really travel to the United States anymore. So Mexico is just like continuing to become like the North American destination year round. So it's kind of surprising and also unsurprising because of that. When you look at, you know, apartments in Tulum, they're like maybe $100,000, maybe less, to get like a 1 bedroom there, and you can Airbnb them out for basically the same price as that same size condo in Toronto. So, you know, just do the math on that. I mean, like, that's a very quick payback period because of this tourism boom that's happening right now. So real estate prices will not be this low for a long time. So these haciendas, I think you'd be able to find these things for $1 million to $2 million. And that's going to be a beautiful place to create an actual retreat where you could have like a very holistic, beautiful experience that could be developed into maybe it could be a charitable organization or some type of socially responsible corporation. I guess if whichever you prefer is up your alley. But I think that this is something that would actually speak to people, and it could also become a really, really cool tourist destination. I think that's a really fun one.
I agree. I think like the most immediate action could literally be, instead of like investing in a hacienda for like the plot of land, you could literally test this by creating these pop-up retreat packages and figure out that the regulation is simple enough for you to provide these like boar riding experiences. And then maybe like you just go visit one of the haciendas and figure out with the general manager, and then just find specialists that might be like an expert trainer. Maybe like you actually do find like a Joe Exotic type that's just like really good at training wild boars.
Always, it's the best to get external minds, like get a third party on it, right?
Yeah. And if you literally make that entire package, you could probably just charge that experience within the $5,000 range, full package experience. Then at that point, you can actually create some of these like discount partnerships with these haciendas in like low traffic tourism seasons and create this community of like boar riding. And then I'll probably like create a decent bit of content about boar riding, maybe like a lot of educational. This is all feelings, no research. But I feel that there's probably endless amount of content about horse riding, but like just not enough content about boar riding at all.
Yeah, there's a gap in the market for sure.
There's probably no boar riding content creator out there.
Because my feelings are saying the same thing.
Yeah, so I think to pursue my dream to become the Joe Exotic of wild boar riding in Texas or Mexico, this is the path I will have to take.
Yeah, I would also say like this is a framework that could be applied to really anything. Just like think about it this way. This is kind of a fast track to owning a resort in Mexico. You're buying a hacienda and turning it into a tourist destination. That genuinely might be one of the easier things to raise money for as an investor, to just sort of say the numbers on like, oh yeah, like I'm starting this resort. It's going to be a situation where I need to buy and staff a $1 to $2 million property. Raising investors for that is actually going to be easier because it's a real estate backed play. So like your investors are going to feel safe in the longevity of it. And also when you need to get loans up front, they're going to have that collateral that they're going to feel safe attaching to. So even if you don't have the money for this, if you just like know a lot of people, you could just do this and then own a resort in Mexico, a beautiful hacienda. I think this is an idea that basically anybody could run with. I really hope somebody does this. Please email if so.
I think my business brain is like actually sparking a lot based on the ecosystem of this idea, because I view this not as just like one business that's just about like boar riding experiences. Because if you're a hacienda owner right now listening to this, you might think that, oh, what's stopping other haciendas to compete in the market against me? I would say, well, there's not going to be that many wild boar domestication or like trainers out there. So why not create a training business, a wild boar training business on top of the experience business? But at the same time, wild boars are deemed as invasive species. So why not create a castration business as well? Like a vet business that's specialized in castrating these wild boars.
Well, if you're building a sanctuary, then naturally you would be doing all of these things. Like I think
we would also welcome
really
other competitors to have their own wild boar roster, either for rent or like to buy our domesticated wild boars that will give people rides safely.
Yeah, the rideable aspect is critical for sure. That like you gotta stay true to that man from Korea.
Essentially, you would own the entire monopoly of like the wild boar riding experience if you start early enough.
Okay, yo, I want to jump into my idea. Okay, I can't believe we gave that away for free, but whatever. So, okay, I'm gonna flip a coin. I have two to talk about today. I'm just gonna give a little visual aid here. Are you into seed oils? Yeah. No,
actually, I'm a constant avoider of seed oils. The highly processed hydrogenated oils, like all rich people.
Yeah, those seed oils. I'm not sure if this chart indicates that people like seed oil more or if they're avoiding it more. I'm gonna guess that they're avoiding it though. So,
but
yeah,
it might be a 50-50.
There's definitely been a lot of products that are coming out on the market that are helping people alleviate their hate on seed oils. Just like there's lots of products coming out that are anti-microplastic. Like you got people using glass cutting boards, like freaking glass cutting boards. Like it makes no sense to me, but whatever. It's because people will buy anything to avoid these things. So a really easy place to sort of alleviate people from these stresses is like, okay, look at seed oil, because seed oils are in basically everything. So basically make a product that usually has seed oil in it, and then make it with something that is not seed oil. So something that I found interesting, I don't have a figure to pull up on this one, but I can tell you with certainty that the bagged popcorn industry is worth billions per year, just in North America alone, which, I mean, I find crazy. I always pop it at home myself. So I prefer it that way, but I think that there's definitely a big market for people who buy a lot of that stuff. So there's a big demand for that. And well, really what I am proposing is the idea of taking popcorn and getting the seed oils out of it and going to a farmer's market and calling it ghee popcorn. Make it with ghee. Mainly because ghee is just like the most obvious answer. And also it's just like the best recipe, like how to make popcorn that tastes like the movie theater. They will always tell you to use ghee. So it's just like the quality choice.
To the people that don't regularly cook at home, ghee is this clarified butter that is often used in Indian dishes.
Yeah, it's ghee is clarified butter. I should have specified that. So this is an animal fat oil. So it wouldn't be vegan friendly, but I think the farmer's market is kind of an important aspect of this, because this is an idea that's like for somebody who lives close to a farmer's market, and that's happening on maybe a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. And you just want to test out a really small, easy to start business idea, like just like that. And I can kind of guarantee you that you're going to get sales. And even if you don't, you won't be sweating it, because your upfront capital is so low that it's whatever. Make ghee popcorn, bag it, sell it, and profit. And all that I'm going to say is that like some of you are going to be like, okay, yeah, I don't have time to just start like popping up at a farmer's market every week. Like that's just like kind of crazy. This is just what I'm going to have to say to that. There's 168 hours in a week. You're awake for 112 of them. Most people spend 28 hours watching television, 11 hours sitting. I think I probably spend a lot more than that sitting, to be honest. Definitely a lot of it probably scrolling on your phone and watching YouTube and playing video games.
It says 1.5 hours of light physical activity. I think it just described my gym routine.
Yeah, that felt kind of accurate to me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think like I need to pump that up. I do need to pump that up. Yeah. I'm just gonna say, like, just given that you have those 112 hours and you're probably farting away most of them. Perplexity says 14 to 20 hours per week. This would take you if you were doing a weekly market. I think that like this makes this idea an absolute bargain in terms of just the dollar amount that has to go in. It's basically free. Like it doesn't even matter. Like just go to Bulk Barn or whatever. Find a good source. It's going to cost you less than $30 for your first batch if that's all you want to spend. You're actually going to be interested to find that I could only find one seller of ghee popcorn in Canada, and also one seller in the United States. I know that majority of our viewers are in the United States. So just putting that out there. Huge amount of opportunity for doing this because there's only one grocery store available thing. And I think it's only really found at places like Whole Foods type spots. So it's not really a convenient product to find. And the classic thing about farmers markets is you cut out the middleman and suddenly the prices go up somehow. So
I wouldn't even go to farmers market sometimes. I think there's a real opportunity if you're just like local and trying to like become the local market player in your neighborhood or community. You can just make marketplace ads. Because like when I think about all the people that's going on to Facebook Marketplace, they're local they're trying to support communities. And then some people like are actually selling food items, whether if it's like catering or their own home cooked packaged foods, while like with like the proper permits that makes it legal in their jurisdiction. Facebook Marketplace is actually a very valid channel to literally advertise something like that.
So that's perfect for the people who are saying like, oh well, I don't have a farmer's market near me. Make your own, basically. It's called the internet. There's a huge opportunity in that. Someone go do it, and it will also go viral, because if you just go on the internet and hate on seed oils, people will agree with that. So start there, and the content will trickle down. Just keep on posting. Just post like 100 times, maybe 200 times, and then you're going to start figuring it out.
And you know what's a great upsell for the popcorn?
What?
You can sell popcorn seasoning.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Oh, that's so true. That is so true. Think popcorn really is the snack that you can just get anybody on. And it's also at a very, very accessible price. You go into a farmer's market, most booths, the minimum you're going to be spending is $15 to $20. So you could sell your popcorn at a much lower ticket thing than most other items that other people are going to be selling. So you could just be in the corner of like, oh, small bag $5, big bag $10. But then also, oh, well, if you want the seasoning, well, we sell this seasoning and it's like literally this big and it's the only available size. And it's like, yeah, like we sell it and it's actually at a very fair price, like per gram. It's not even a ripoff, but it's in a very big quantity.
Yeah.
And
we're the only maker of cinnamon roll flavored popcorn seasoning, and we only sell it to you by 1 kilogram load at a time.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's like $40, but it still has so much in it that you've packed so much value that people are still like, okay, I feel compelled to buy this because of the inherent scalability of this, like they're thinking like, okay, I'm coming back to this market a few times now and I buy the bag. I'm tired. It's adding up. I've probably spent $50 already at this booth. I should just buy the seasoning and start making it at home. So even when you lose your customer, you're profiting off of them. And I just think that's beautiful.
All right. I'm going to kick off this idea with this one video. Just look at how efficient this freaking assembly line is. Like, you can just like get mesmerized into this entire process. And then they're just like making so many of these. And then you might be asking, oh, Runda, what is this? What are they making? It's like a type of Chinese donut called Mahua. And the way I see it, I think this is like one of those like simple, nostalgic street foods that's just like commonly loved in China that the Western market still haven't caught on yet. And when you think about Tanghulu being like a giant trend, I'm now predicting that this is like one of those foods that's just so simple to love and then simple to make. And it can definitely have the viral potential to become like the next food trend or like Asian food trend. Because it already exists in China. You saw how big that assembly line was. And I'm just like going onto Google Trends here. It's actually showing like a consistent search trend over the past 5 years across worldwide. And it seems like a slowly growing upward trend. So I think this entire food category, or like, I'm not sure if it's like a category of donut. Maybe you dress up with different type of icing or like different add-ons onto the Mahua when you start like this franchise business. But this is the most interesting part to me, is that Mahua making is actually so common that a machine exists for it. And if we go to our favorite place, Alibaba right here, it looks like an entire assembly line.
So Okay, so you can order these things in for $500. So I think the opportunity here is how can you make money from importing these things and
Look at this
selling them?
thing, just like putting in the work of making some fresh Chinese donuts.
I think the move here is to buy 50 of them and then just start making videos with one of them of like convincing people that this is going to be like the next craze. This is the next Tonghulu craze, and just absolutely hammer that at franchise expos and just go
And we should
door
do
knocking on
pop-ups too.
restaurant business owners, do pop-ups, say like, look, this is gonna be the hugest trend to ever rock the earth is this donut right here. And just so you know, if you want to buy one from me, $3,000.
$3,000 and you have a business. You have a business machine.
Just saying. That's what I think my plan is here with that one.
Either sell the machine or like get a close-ended distribution deal with like a manufacturer in China for these machines and then sell it over here. I think I would probably approach things like bubble tea shops are this Chinese donut can really complement with. And before like starting my own kind of like brick and mortar fast food franchise of like a Chinese donut place, and invite a bunch of like these other tea shop owners or like maybe as like supermarket owners and or like kind of food influencers or gurus into these like pop-ups at first just to showcase like look at the Chinese donut, we're bringing it over here, and then this is like one of the rare places that we serve these, except for probably like some Chinese grocery markets probably already serve these hot, but then it's not like a commonly known food group to the Western market yet that I think is just like not that simple to get in everywhere. I think once everything validates on like you selling the machines and then it performs well in different tea shops, I think you can actually start your own franchise that differentiates itself from all the other donut shops. Because like when you think about donuts, you think about, at least in Canada, we think about Tim Hortons, where in America we think about Dunkin' Donuts, and then there's Krispy Kreme, but then like they're all just like westernized donuts. And then when I think about like independent donut shops, they're still making just like either a variety of vegan donuts or just like gorge yourself out kind of like artisan donuts that's just like much more heftier in cream and all that stuff. But then the donut category is not really differentiating itself into like something like a Chinese donut. So I would probably create the Chinese donut franchise and then just make different flavors or like different coatings of these like Chinese donuts.
Yeah.
And then maybe like as an add-on, we put like, I don't know, Oreo crumbs or like chocolate sauce on it or something for you. Then I would operate it almost just like a Krispy Kreme, along with like the different milkshakes where like maybe it's like bubble tea that we also serve in the same franchise shop. And then it would essentially have that kind of model. Before this entire Chinese donut craze become like even a mainstream thing or even like gets on anyone's radar, if anyone is like thinking about starting some kind of independent pastry shop, if they do think about Chinese donuts, they should call me because I think I have an exact plan lined up.
I feel like this is an easy sell for if you have access to Chinese market, basically. If you're anywhere like Toronto, or I mean, maybe even better than Toronto, maybe you're in Markham, you could kind of just like guaranteed do well with this thing. And I feel like this idea really blossomed when you sort of brought it into the perspective of like, this is on Alibaba and you can buy these things in bulk for like $300 a unit. So like that is just screaming major franchise opportunity, kind of in the style of Hunt's Brothers Pizza as like my favorite franchise example, honestly. And there's obviously so many different ways that you could mess around with that as a framework.
Yeah, that's not a bad direction either. It's just like you sell the Chinese donut as a franchise to gas stations, and then maybe we'll figure out the Canadian Hunt's Brothers franchise. Instead of like charging you $10,000 to buy a pizza oven, we'll charge you $9,000 for the Chinese donut machine.
Yeah, because well, at that point, it comes installed for you. There's training attached to it. You call this number anytime a servicer comes and they help you out.
Yeah,
and also,
it takes much less ingredients to make a Chinese donut than a pizza.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, that's true. Still, though, just gonna say, only catch. If you want to get the ingredients, you do have to buy them from us. So, just so you know. And it is at a higher price. It is. Yes. I'm sorry to say that. However, it's because it's higher quality ingredients that are for the strict quality control that we provide to make sure that every location has the same level of quality. And then you get a beautiful supplier business that you get to run for your recurring income once you've saturated the market with all of the machines that you've sold.
I already love it.
I think it's a pretty good one. I think how much does it cost again? Should we just buy 5 of these things and just see if it's possible?
Yeah, that's our summer plan now. We're going to be Chinese donut making machine salesmen. So if anyone is in the market to buy a Chinese donut making machine, just call us.
Yeah, let's all go splitsies, halfsies on a bulk order. Maybe we'll get 5 people together. And then we each only have to put in a few $100. I mean, come on, that's nothing.
Honestly, I have no plans on starting a business with this. I just want this at home.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. A house is not a home without one of those fryers in it. It's just not.
Just think about how great your backyard summer parties would be with one of these things. Just saying.
Yeah, it's undeniable.
Yeah, ask us everything about this Chinese donut making machine, and we will answer. Not guaranteeing that the answers will all be quality answers, but we will answer your questions. I'm going to move on to Google. All right, I'm just going to set up this premise of Google Vids. So to the people who are not really subscribed to Google Workspace. And just to explain what Google Workspace is essentially just Google's version of Microsoft Office. And I'm sure a good, decent bit of majority of the population use it because it's all free. But the Workspace is actually the subscription plan when you pay for these things. And then it comes with extra storage and all these other additional apps that is incorporated within the enterprise office space. Yeah, this is what's included as one of the apps in Google Workspace is actually this thing called Google Vids, which is they kind of propose it as this AI-powered video creation for work. But what it really is just a video editing app that Google has made. It's all incorporated into the Google Workspace plan. And then I guess the only thing that is really incorporated with AI is probably just Gemini that gives you script suggestions and not really just it's probably not editing the entire video for you, but nonetheless, it's still a very useful tool if you're already just under the Google Workspace plan. But what's so interesting about this app is that not a lot of people know that it exists, mainly because you have to pay to even access it at first. And also, Google Vids really just launched publicly not less than a year ago. So there's really just a lack of information and content about Google Vids as a platform. So whenever one of these apps from such a big giant enterprise company release one of these apps, as a content creator, you have the biggest opportunity because number one, Google Workspace have so much distribution on providing these workspace subscription plans. You're going to have people that's searching for Google Vids content if they actually want to incorporate Google Vids in their workflow for their business operations. And if I search on YouTube on just Google Vids tutorials, they're all just only coming from Google Workspace. And then they're all just short demo videos that doesn't really help much on the process thinking that you should be using while creating content with Google Vids. There are some like smaller creators that's kind of like initially creating some content on like just them checking it out, but there's not really like a series of education content on like exactly like a purpose built form of like using these Google Vids.
That guy
So
got 20K views.
yeah, yeah, 20K views just to check out how Google Vids work.
Yeah, there really is nothing worse than when you're considering a software, especially a software that you have to pay for, and you go to YouTube and you search up the software and all you can find are videos from the company that made the software. It's just like the worst. People need to have a third party creator review the softwares. Like it's just so necessary.
Or if it's like the company themselves. And then this one company does it really well, and it's Webflow. And they knew that they have like such a new platform to create websites. They essentially made a WordPress for designers. And initially, I remember like when they created that platform, they essentially like went from the ground up from beginning to end on like all the functionalities as like a YouTube series of these Webflow University. And then like they made the content so interesting and engaging, and then process driven with like all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps that as like a viewer that's not actually using the software, I'm still like watching the video because this host guy that's like teaching you how the program works is just like so entertaining. They actually script it properly, and he's making jokes. And it's like just really interesting to watch. I think what a creator could essentially do, even without like Google Vids affiliation, maybe like if they make enough content about Google Vids, it will actually get Google's attention, and maybe like they'll get like a permanent job placement at Google for like $300,000 a year or something like that. There could be like a huge opportunity for someone to become a Google Vids creator right now, and just like create a multi-series of like Webflow University of Google Vids, and just here's how to make a proper video template for your sales video or something like that. And then just like hit every demographic, like, oh, this is exactly how I made a 30-second ad that looks just like the new Wendy's commercial or something like that.
Yeah, say or do something crazy. Like, I mean, where my mind is going, like as a production company owner, is like I made a $10,000 commercial and edited it using Google Vids.
Yeah.
Like just do like whatever the most absurd thing is with the platform. Like just keep making content around it. Google has a massive audience. Like just by that being a product in their business suite, that is that's tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of potential people that are going to see that as a product. And over time, maybe not right now, but maybe not everybody right now. To be honest, I hadn't heard of it yet, but this could become a really popular platform to be editing videos on. So yeah, the more content that gets made about it, the better. And yeah, Google would love that. They really might just give you a few $100,000 a year at the end of the day to just like keep doing that if all else fails.
And then you could potentially be like keynote speaker for Google whenever like they're in some kind of like trade shows or a presentation. You could be like the Google Vids creator that gets up on stage to demo new features on Google Vids when they do these like essential Google Workspace presentations. Think about like Adobe. Adobe does that all the time for like illustrators or like industry professionals. But when Google Workspace releases these videos, they have like in-person presentations, but it's like all people that works at Google. They don't really have like Google creators that's demoing these. So just be a creator that does that, and then like get called up by Google whenever they're announcing some new feature about the app. Because like I'm guessing video creation is just going to be an overall trend for all professionals out there. And Google actually do want to capture that market on becoming the platform to do so. At least like take a specific niche market, whether it's like sales videos or simple marketing demo videos, creations into their workspace product. You could strategically become a Google Vids creator right now.
This is a great idea because I think this might be the number one of everything that we mentioned today that we should literally run with. We should, like, this is for us or anybody like us who creates videos, and you're interested in something like this. Just do that, because that guy out there who has like the 20,000 views on his video, he may be the actual only creator who has done that. So go watch his video and just think about whether you could do better than that, and run from there. That's a crazy one. And also, I'm so surprised that like I just had no idea that even existed.
I guess I know that existed because I saw some random notification on my Google Workspace subscription that it was available, or like it was in beta. So I saw it and then I thought, oh, that's interesting, and it's probably like not common knowledge.
I want to jump into my idea that I'd like to finish the episode off with. Like, this is like a big one. This is one that, like, I've done the math. You could make $1 million per month off of this idea. So I'm just going to share my screen right quick. So Runda, have you ever heard of the Van Gogh immersive experience? Like, you ever go to this? You ever see this?
I think I've seen ads for it, but I don't think I've ever really looked into it or been to the exhibit.
Yeah, I don't know. So I've never been, but I don't know. My mom went. She said it was pretty awesome. Like, I kind of heard about that, and then I don't know. I just got a fridge magnet. She gave it to me. It's just on my fridge, so it's kind of just stayed in my mind. And one day I heard on a podcast that there's actually like 5 or 6 companies that do that. And that just really surprised me, because I know that this is like a very popular thing. It's in so many cities, and it's run year round. And they continue to like actually sell a lot of tickets to these things. And I mean, look at this. This is $30 per ticket here. Look at this, selling fast. I got kind of curious about that, and I just started like wondering, like, hey, why are there so many companies that are doing this? And then I realized, like, oh, it's actually because it's in the public domain. Anything that is over 100 years old, like, you can just run an experience like this, and there's nobody that you necessarily have to pay out to, because it's art and it's free. The creator has long died, and now it exists for the public. So that immediately brings up the question of like, all right, so like what's the idea here? Well, the idea is you use that as a framework and you apply it to a different IP, essentially. And where my head immediately goes is Mickey Mouse. Because Mickey Mouse became in the public domain, I think, in the last 1 to 2 years. That's an interesting area. But also, I mean, like, come on, there's so many of these cartoons from like the 1920s that are starting to like get in there. There's going to be so many more, and I think they're going to create opportunities to do things that are more creative and just more interesting than this Van Gogh thing. Stuff that like will actually draw people out more, and, you know, do something really big with it. And again, I'm just going to go back into here. I was trying out Grok recently, and I just had it run a revenue estimate, and it actually compared with Team Lab Borderless, which is actually, I don't know if you heard about that, but that's a crazy experience type of thing in Japan, which apparently does 4.7 million monthly. It's pretty crazy. But this Van Gogh experience, it overestimated the price here by $10. So I would say it's okay. So it's estimating that is easily about 2 million per month that this business is doing. So yeah, really the question is like, what can you deliver in a better way to outshine the things like the Van Gogh experience and make it into something that's actually imaginative and just like better? Because there's obviously a ton of demand for this stuff, especially when it's attached to the right IP.
Yeah, this is such a great space to disrupt, mainly because I've been to other art exhibitions before, and it was like actually so boring. Even though like I have appreciation of art and was a senior art director before in the creative agencies, like what boggles my mind in the fine arts world is just like the lack of these attachment to pop culture and commercial or like these entertainment like Mickey Mouse. They just like sometimes they just do artwork of flowers or fish or like just abstract lines of lights. When I like tap into my common consumer mind, I'm just like, why? This is like kind of boring to me. This looks amazing, but then like the subject matter is like kind of boring to me. Why are we looking at laser fish?
For
But like
real
if you
though.
just like attach it to something like with pop culture, if it's like neon Mickey Mouse, I would appreciate that. Just like make a neon Mickey Mouse that's 3D, that's like walking. That would have been way more engaging for me to like
Yeah.
have like emotional attachment to like the cultural context of like Mickey Mouse turning into neon from black and white.
The Mickey Mouse angle is huge. I think like, geez, do we know how old Casper is? Like, could we do Casper? Imagine Casper during Halloween, like just running that. Like, come on, like you could actually make such like an awesome themed experience. Like maybe you could find your own corner in this experiences market by just offering horror experiences. What was the YouTuber that made this? I don't remember, but I saw somebody made a video about the market of haunted houses, and just like that business, that industry alone, like it's actually very impressive. Like like you see like Spirit of Halloween, and there's all these haunted houses that pop up. Like these are all businesses that function year round by operating for only like 1 to 2 months out of the year, and they are so highly profitable that like that's really all they need, and that is actually the owner's full-time thing. They run for 2 months, and then it's R&D for 10 months, and then just right back into it. So like, run some shows, but do it with these awesome projection mapping technologies that are now available. Like take advantage of the stuff that the Van Gogh people are using.
Yeah, what's so interesting about Casper is you can do the angle of haunted house, but like it's totally not scary, so that kids who like are too annoying when they cry at these things, or like for people who just like genuinely get too scared because like they're triggered with like horror, you can create an experience for that on Halloween and then have the most friendliest haunted houses experience. And even with like doing a haunted house at that level, I think you could potentially just like rent out a full house on Airbnb, rent it for like 2 months, and then just like projection map it. Maybe it's like a Toronto 3-story home that's just like projection mapped with like Casper the Friendly Ghost content.
100%. That would be insane. Take this stuff to the next level. Like that's what this is all about. I honestly like this idea for me like just comes with a personal obsession with these projection mapping things. Like it's just so fascinating, and it seems like they really are doing some cool stuff at the Van Gogh thing. But I will also say that I've heard people say that it's kind of underwhelming. There's a huge opportunity here.
Well, if everyone is not a millionaire after listening to this episode in like 6 months from now, then like it's their fault. It's
I feel
generally just their
like if you're not immediately a millionaire after listening to this episode, like instantaneously after this video ends, then yeah, it's 100% your fault. Like I can lead a man to the water, but I cannot make him drink.
We just casted a net into the ocean and then gave you a bunch of giant fishes for you to fry. And if you would like to learn on how to fish, Book a brainstorm session. Book a
Real.
brainstorm session that's catered to you.
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah, book a brainstorming session with us sometime soon. Thanks for listening, everybody. And yeah, come back and listen again soon. Make sure you're subscribed and everything.
All right. Bye-bye.